everyone, Ivy League Gaming here, and today we're playing Dragonheir Silent Gods. For today's video, we're going to continue going through the new heroes that are being added for Season 1. This time, Necrosis. So, Necrosis, or the Necrotic faction, this is a really cool element. I love the variety, I love the summon aspect, and it's something that I did not play with at all during the last season. I only played around with some of the characters before that, so I would really love to get my hands on some of these heroes. And yeah, maybe do that for my second bit of synergy, we'll see. But we're going to go right into it. We're going to take a look at the rares. I'm going to read through the skills and talk about anything it kind of sticks out to me so you guys can get an idea of, yeah, who we're going to be hoping to summon, right? There's so much excitement around the new heroes. They look amazing, and so far they sound really solid. Even just the epic and rare alone, very, very good. But we're going to start off with the rares. So first off, we have Ulor Deepwood, aka Yellow Enna. So she is a support unit that's ranged. Her passive heals an ally when the hero deals damage with their skill. Her battle skill deals necrotic damage to the enemy with a 100% chance of dispelling one buff from them. Her ultimate deals necrotic damage to enemies within range with a 100% chance of inflicting accuracy penalty 2 for 10 seconds. And an aura increases all allies' accuracy by 30 in all battles. So, solid support unit, maybe she'll kick out some damage too. Dispelling a buff from the enemy can really come in handy. It's a single target though, so maybe better for bosses. And then yeah, an accuracy penalty can help prevent those bosses from landing really annoying debuffs, like those poisons or burns, or yeah, there's a lot to deal with that come at us from the bosses. So maybe if you have enough resistance, you can actually counteract that. Alright, next up we have Vaska Shadowcloak. He kind of blends in with the background. Maybe I should have blurred the background better. Too late now. It's fine. Alright, this is another rare. He looks amazing, badass looking character for just a rare. They do such a good job. But he's a summon type with melee attack. His passive, the hero gains healing when the hero and their summoned units deal damage. The skill only takes effect once during a period. Okay. During a period. I hate when they say during a period. They've had this in other characters too, and you don't really know what they mean. Like, do they mean during the whole battle? Or what's the period? Is it 5 seconds? Is it 10 seconds? Is it the whole? Is it the round? Is it what? Like, what is the period? They really need to specify that better. Because they did that in a couple other characters, and it doesn't make sense if it means during the battle. I don't know what they mean. Alright. Battle skills summons a skeleton which lasts for 15 seconds. Ultimate deals necrotic damage to enemies within range. When this skill kills an enemy, it summons a skeleton at the dead enemy's location for 15 seconds. Nice, I like it. It deals an aura increases all allies' attack by 24% in Grand Gladiator Arena battles. Alright, I love summons because they're a great distraction. Back with the CBT1 account that I had as a content creator account before CBT2 started, summons were the king of the game. Like, that was like the thing to do. They kind of changed some things, and it wasn't necessarily the answer, but I would love to see a comeback for the summoners. Next up, we have Aluia. She's a Frightful Foreman. So this is a rare summon unit, ranged attack. Every 5 basic attacks summons a skeleton, which lasts for 15 seconds. Ooh, so get that attack speed up to make us summon as many skeletons as possible. I like that already. Battle skill deals necrotic damage to up to 3 random enemies. This skill is considered a basic attack. Oh, hey, I love that. Yes. This is going to be all about just doing your basic attacks or your battle skills as much as possible. So skill haste to do your battle skill, and attack speed to do your basic attacks to have the most summons possible be popping out. This might be a fun little rare to use. I love that the rares legit sound great. I mean, I'd be down to use any of them, honestly, at this point. Alright, well, the ultimate grants attack speed up to, as I said, attack speed, and 20% attack up to all allies' undead summoned units for 10 seconds. Interesting. And then, oh, the aura, there it is. Increases all allies' attack speed by 18% in all battles. Yep, you see something like that, you know it's going to be all about attack speed. And yeah, I love it. I love it. I love the idea of just popping out a ton of skeletons. I wonder if there's a cap on how many skeletons they can produce in a battle. Not sure if there, that's, it usually says if there is, which it could once we get into the game and has more detail. We'll see. All right, now we have Edgar the Betrayed. He's a support melee damage dealer. Passive attack, when the hero has a shield, they take 20% less damage. Battle skill grants a shield to the hero for 10 seconds. Ultimate deals necrotic damage to enemies within range and gains a shield and defense up 1 for 10 seconds. For each enemy hit by this skill, the hero gains 10% more shields. So this sounds like he could be a decent tank, even though it doesn't say he's like a defense type. Usually they put defense for the type, not support. But yeah, it's actually weird that they say that he's support because all he's doing is supporting himself. He's not supporting his allies except for his aura. So honestly, I feel like this should say defense for the type because he's just protecting himself and no one else. Yeah, no one else. So this is a defense type. This is not a support type. He is not enabling your team in any way. Except for the aura, increases all allies' HP by 18% in all battles. But that's a bit low for the HP side of things. So you probably, I mean, it's okay early on, but I don't know that you'd be picking him for the aura. But interesting either way. So, you always need a tank in every faction, so I think he could be a pretty good tank, actually. As long as his base stats are okay. And now we have our undead-looking Flora. So now we're on to the epics. So this is Estella, Spectral Light. She's a support ranged unit. Her passive marks the ally with the lowest HP at the start of combat, increasing the healing and shield they receive by 25%. Very nice. Grants her battle skill grants debuff immunity and defense up to an ally for 5 seconds. This skill prioritizes allies marked by the hero. Oh, I wish it was an AoE debuff immunity. Whew. Alright, ultimate. Cast the spell for 6 seconds, during which time the ally with the lowest HP is healed every 0.2 seconds. So she's really focused on keeping alive your squishiest unit, which could be good if you have a pretty tanky team except for one person that's your like squishy DPS attack-based unit. But in most cases, I don't know if this would be as beneficial because it's so particular about only helping one hero at a time. I guess it depends on how often she marks the allies, right? She does it at the start of combat. I guess it's only once. So stuff where there's quick battles, okay. But long battles, like dungeon type content or vortex, she's not really going to do much help. Although you could say if you're going into the vortex boss, maybe this does actually, yeah. If you go into vortex, then she marks your ally with the lowest HP, which you would hope would be your attack-based unit that's probably the squishiest, that's doing the most, hopefully the one also doing the most damage. Excuse me. Then maybe that will be enough to help keep that person plus the whole team alive and doing damage even longer. It's possible, but would definitely be something we have to test. Her aura increases all allies' HP by 30% in City of Trials, which City of Trials is Feywild. I don't know why they haven't changed their names and descriptions yet when there's nothing in the game called City of Trials. They should be changing that before global launch. All right, and our next epic is Joyce, Emissary of Fortune. An epic summoner type, ranged unit. Passive skill, heroes are soul linked to their summon units. When a summoned unit gets a buff, the hero gets the same buff. Ooh, that's really cool. Especially for situations where, like, maybe your summon skeletons are up doing melee damage next to a tank that could be buffing your skeletons only because they have a limited range, and that will actually buff the rest of the heroes in the back as well. That's clever. I like it. Battle skill deals necrotic damage to the enemy with the lowest HP. When there is a lucky phantom summoned by the hero on the field, it will cast the same skill and deal necrotic damage. Alright, and summons a lucky phantom for the ultimate at a designated location for 45 seconds. That's solid. Up to 3 lucky phantoms can exist at the same time. Ooh, I love it, I love it. Alright, very curious about how this unit will do. It sounds very good for the summoner type. And then increases all allies' crit damage by 30% in dungeon battles. Okay, I love it. I think that's really clever, really unique. Definitely would love to try this hero in a summoner team. Really good. All right, next up we have Zarloth, the Blasphemous. Super cool, definitely fits that purple necrotic vibe. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right, epic support unit ranged. Okay, passive skill. Every 4 basic attacks heals the ally with the lowest HP with a 100% chance of inflicting silence to the enemy for 5 seconds. So, to what enemy? You're healing an ally and then inflicting silence. Those two things don't go together. I guess with whatever basic whoever you're attacking with your basic attacks, you have a 100% chance to silence someone every 4 basic attacks, and you're just throwing a heal back at an ally at the same time. Okay, that was a little bit confusing for a second, but I instantly worked it out. Okay, we're good. Battle skill. Deals necrotic damage to enemies within range with a 75% chance of inflicting recharging speed penalty for 5 seconds. All right. Recharging speed penalty, like a decreased speed for how fast people can come back to their ultimates and battle skill. All right, ultimate summons a prison at the designated location for 5 seconds, dealing necrotic damage to enemies within range every 1 second for the duration of the prison, with a 65% chance of inflicting fear to enemies for 5 seconds and healing all allies. Really interesting kit for this guy. Really interesting. So, dealing necrotic damage, crowd control with a fear, and heals all allies. And his aura increases all allies' attack by 24% in all battles. Also very solid for an epic for the aura. 30% is what you normally see with the legendaries. Plus there's 1 rare that does that because they gotta be different. But yeah, that's pretty interesting. Really, really good. Like, it's a lot of crowd control with silence and fear, and decreasing the enemy's recharging speed, but also healing all allies too. There's a couple heals thrown in there. I really think this character sounds very well rounded and could probably be pretty beneficial in most teams. All right, now we have Irma, Night Watcherman. So defense type melee unit should be our tank then. Has a passive, has a 30% chance of increasing the hero's ultimate energy by 5% when taking damage. Battle skill deals necrotic damage to an enemy and gains hit recovery for 5 seconds. That's like a continuous heal. And then ultimate deals necrotic damage to enemies within range and grants control immunity and damage reduction to allies within range for 10 seconds. Okay, so this is a melee thing within range. We can't see the range to know if it's like a full board or a big wad or just like around the character. It's kind of hard to tell until we see them in game to see how good that range really is. But control immunity and damage reduction is amazing. That even just the damage reduction, the hit recovery here, and the ultimate recharges to keep putting that up, that would be even helpful in something like Vortex to constantly be putting up that damage reduction to help keep people alive longer. I think that might be interesting to try, but this sounds a little bit more like, well, control immunity would probably be more something like Arena, but there's some other areas too where you can get controlled, so you can probably use them in some clever areas, but I think the epics are sounding pretty solid so far. Now we have Gladros Simpering. What the hell does simpering mean? Alright, so this is another epic support unit that's ranged. Passive, when an ally with a shield is inflicted with control, their shield is dispelled and they are granted immunity to control this time. Okay. They like swap their shield for control immunity. That's interesting. I guess it depends on what you're doing. That might not be a good thing necessarily. Battle skill deals necrotic damage to the enemy with the highest attack with a 75% chance of stealing 25% of their attack for 5 seconds. Stealing their attack? The stolen attack is capped at 50% of the hero's attack. So you steal their attack and then add it to your attack. Up to 50% of your hero's attack added. That's such a weird one. I don't think I've heard that before. Steal their attack. Hey, I like it. Let's get creative. And then the ultimate grants a shield and debuff immunity to allies within range for 10 seconds. Debuff immunity is amazing. To have that on an allies within range, like an AoE, for an epic is definitely very strong. There's so many debuffs where you really want to prevent them from happening in the first place. Even just like Vortex, you don't want that decreased defense being placed on you. Which, by the way, with Vortex, that doesn't happen until later stages. The Vortex boss actually like increases in difficulty over time. And one of those points, it starts giving you a decreased defense penalty debuff. All right, let's continue. Aura increases all allies' resistance by 50% in Grand Gladiator arena battles. Yeah, definitely great for arena. But I could also see this used in a lot of PvE as well. Just with that ultimate alone, granting a shield and debuff immunity to all allies within range, that's really solid and a huge help in so many areas where we get debuffed. We get poisons, we get burns. There's a lot of stuff in the dungeons that we have to counteract or cleanse. So having debuff immunity is helping to prevent those from happening in the first place. So even better, that sounds really, really good. He might be a top tier epic for dungeons and arena, honestly. All right, and we have Deverick Diener. I don't know what that means. Diener. I don't even know what that means. All right, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to move on. The word will be to put down there, though. All right, we have epic support unit ranged. When the passive, when the hero hits an enemy with a skill, they have a 30% chance of dispelling one buff from the enemy. Battle skill launches 3 attacks at an enemy, dealing necrotic damage with a 50% chance of inflicting accuracy penalty 2 for 5 seconds. And the ultimate selects up to 3 enemies to launch 3 attacks, each dealing necrotic damage with a 50% chance of inflicting attack penalty 2 for 10 seconds. And increases all allies' accuracy by 40 in all battles. Definitely could be solid for dungeons. There's plenty of areas where you want to dispel a buff, or just the idea of putting decrease attack 2 on a boss. The attack penalty 2 is very good, along with just hopefully dealing some decent damage. He sounds like he has the potential to deal some decent damage as well. I guess we'll have to see. Some of the best damage dealers, like Voresh, are considered support, so don't let the word support deceive you. Alright, and this guy looks like a badass. Such a cool looking character. Now we're on to the legendaries. This is a summon hero melee type attack. Passive skill summons one skeleton that gradually loses HP at the same spot for 3 seconds after an ally's undead summon unit dies. Okay, it pops up another summon when another summon dies. Definitely gotta have multiple summoners for really good synergy. Alright, battle skill deals necrotic damage to enemies within range. For each ally's undead summon unit on the field, the skill damage is increased by 20%. Ooh, like the one we were talking about where it sounded like they could really pop out a ton of skeletons every 5 seconds with those, like, or every 5 battle attacks with the increased attack speed. Sounds like this guy would pair pretty well with that unit. Alright, ultimate increases deals necrotic damage to enemies within range and summons 2 skeletons, then grants attack up to all summoned allies for 10 seconds. And the aura increases all allies' attack by 30% in all battles. Very good. Sounds like a top tier damage dealer for the summoner class. Synergizes really well with multiple summoner units in the team. Absolutely sounds like a great legendary. Alright, and now we have Gulend, Silent Echo. Legendary support, ranged unit, passive skill. When the hero casts a skill on the enemy with HP less than 50%, there's a 50% chance of inflicting charmed and healing reduction for 5 seconds. If the hero fails to inflict charm on the enemy, they inflict an accuracy penalty instead. Ooh, I love that. Preventing someone who's getting close to dying from healing? Really good. Probably arena. We'll see. Alright, battle skill has a 100% chance of inflicting stunned to the enemy for 3 seconds. For the next 3 seconds, it deals necrotic damage on the enemy every 0.6 seconds, stealing 3% of their ultimate energy and healing the hero. Okay, he sounds really quirky. I like it. Really, really quirky. Definitely an arena hero. Alright, yep. Ultimate deals necrotic damage to all enemies with a 75% chance of inflicting attack penalty 2 on them for 10 seconds. Dispels all debuffs from all allies and heals them, gaining an increase in that healing for each debuff successfully dispelled. Okay, there's plenty of areas where we need a cleanser for your team, dispelling all debuffs from all allies. That's amazing. That could be used not only in arena, but so many areas of the game, many dungeons, vortex, everything. So pretty solid unit as well for support. I love me a cleanser, and sounds like a top tier option, even with an aura. Increases all allies' accuracy by 65 in Grand Gladiator Arena battles. Alright, I can dig it. The legendaries sound wonderful. Alright, and last but not least for our legendaries is probably my favorite. As a fellow pregnant lady, I should probably be disturbed by this, but I think it's amazing. I don't know if I should be disgusted and disturbed, but I'm not. I think it's awesome. This legendary summon unit here, ranged. This is Premsta, Bearer of Death. So creepy. I love it so much. Alright, her passive. When a friendly undead summoner dies, it inflicts derivative necrotic damage on enemies within its surrounding area. Okay, derivative damage is where you want enlightenment. Interesting. Bonus derivative damage every time an undead summoner dies. An undead summoner or an undead summon? That might be a typo. Do they mean a summoner is the hero that's doing the summon, but this an undead summoner? Do they mean a necrotic summoner? This is a little bit confusing. I kind of question what they actually mean for this description. If they really mean the hero that's putting out the summon, or do they actually just mean the summon itself? Well, I guess we might have to test that one. if they don't change the description to be a little bit more clear. All right, battle skill releases 3 spirits to attack a random enemy on the field, inflicting necrotic damage and generating a spirit at their location for 10 seconds, which will continue to attack enemies within range. All right, there's an ultimate. Unleashes Torrent of Souls, dealing necrotic damage to all enemies. Additionally, all allies' undead summoned units can trigger Tireless Devotion once with AoE damage immediately without dying. I guess we'll have the description for what Tireless Devotion is when we can see the pop-ups for her in-game. Sounds like she's gonna smack. Sounds like she's gonna be a massive damage dealer. Might be my new favorite character. We'll have to see. I might have to see. And I'm gonna be doing a Starlight only challenge where I can't play legendaries. So, but I am gonna summon, gosh darn it. I'm gonna summon. But on the main account. But yeah, I think she sounds amazing. All right, and the aura increases all allies' attack by 45% in dungeon battles. Really great sounding units. The legendaries sound fantastic. Even the epics and the rares all sound very viable. I feel like this game does a great job of being creative to allow everyone to have flexibility to build a team. And yeah, really get creative with your team comps now. The more units they've added, the stronger your lineup can really be when you want to focus one particular element for your team. And you're gonna need a team of every element for the end game content anyway. So yeah, really, really fun heroes. Of course, we expect the necrotic stuff to look amazing, and it sure does. But that's all for today's video, guys. I did have a few others before this, so go check those out. And I will be doing the rest of these after as well over the next couple of days. So stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next video.